What is up, everyone? I hope everybody's having a good day. We're going to talk about a couple of things here. Firstly, let's move this down. Okay, cool. All right. So let's talk about it. As you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about the dangers of undefined copyright clauses. Why is this bad? Why is it dangerous? And what it means for you and me, for content creators. I'm not a YouTube content creator. I am actually a multi-platform content creator, but my major platform is TikTok. That is where I have the largest following. That is where I have the largest growth. It's where I have the largest traffic. So this is a little bit different. I'm used to a lot more strict community guidelines. Obviously, for those of you that have been on TikTok, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But what we're going to talk about today, actually, is weaponizing DMCA striking. We're going to talk about weaponizing DMCA striking and how it affects content creators as a whole and why it's bad. Okay. So let me start by opening up with this. By no way, shape, or form am I trying to take a side or become super involved here. But what I will say is, based off the evidence presented, I can tell you what is wrong, what is right, and I think that's what's important. Don't get so caught up in a camp that you can't call out whichever side you're choosing for what they're doing wrong. So let's talk about it. Let's give you a brief rundown real quick of what's going on. Honestly, the best place to really understand what's going on is going to be Aspen. This will give us the information we need. And the issue right now is I am willingly and voluntarily opening myself up to basically not even get off the ground with YouTube right now. Content creators that have talked about this, content creators that have tried to stand up for what they believe is right, have been silenced. They've been demonetized. They have been DMCA struck. And the problem with this is silencing your opposition by weaponizing DMCA. It shows two things. Firstly, it shows that there is no limits of escalation immediately that you are not willing to go to. But secondly, it shows that there is no concern or care for the livelihood of an individual. Now, there's certain things that we'll get into here later in the video. One of those is lines that we do not cross with internet beef. I think that's super important. This is what people have forgotten. People have taken internet beef and they've brought it to the real world. And this is problematic. Okay? So there's lines that you do not cross. One of those lines is you do not threaten somebody's family. Another one of those lines is you do not dox them. You do not call their mother. And one of those lines is you do not threaten to dox somebody or people or a whole organization that pays your bills. These are all very important things that we do not do. Okay? and we'll get into who's right, who's wrong, what somebody did right, what somebody did wrong, and yeah. So let's get started. This is obviously Asmongold. Most of you probably know him. We'll change the quality so we can actually see.
Invades your personal space.
And we'll get some lighting here.
Calls your mom, indicating that you of course know their real name and their phone number.
And their address,
yes,
and my brother and my father and me and my mother, and you're bragging about all this shit.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not. You have to think like a crazy person who is willing to escalate a bad Elden Ring review into doxing someone else's family.
It's not unreasonable
Agreed.
to think that person would not escalate it even further.
Exactly.
And like that's happened before. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Whoa, this is so surreal.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you're in a reaction video, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, I know this has been like a big thing. Like, and when I think about it, like, when was the first video like that this happened? Like the worst Elden Ring hot takes.
This is all because of an Elden Ring video, by the way.
Mischief made his first video on Quantum
because they didn't agree whether
March 13th.
Elden Ring was a good game or not.
So it goes back to March, and then
I personally don't like Elden Ring.
Strike business back then, and then so it goes back a while.
So that's just me.
We are in the final saga here. We are in season 4 of Attack on Titan. You know what I mean?
So you feel like they're building up to like such a place that it's like it can't go any farther than this.
Oh, it can always go farther.
I don't think so. I don't think YouTube can make it any more terrible decisions at this point.
It's kind of hard to at this point. I agree with you. And so just for anybody who doesn't understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, effectively what happened for anybody who hasn't been caught up with this is that basically there was a guy who made a video, his name's Quantum TV, about Elden Ring. He said, did he, I want to, correct me if I'm wrong about this, did he ever play Elden Ring?
Fun fact, in his 5 Elden Ring videos, he never once showed any gameplay of him playing Elden Ring.
To be fair, I have never played Elden Ring either, and I won't play Elden Ring. I won't spend the money on it. I sucked at Dark Souls. I'm not afraid to admit that I sucked at Dark Souls. The gameplay, everybody says, is much like Dark Souls, so I'm not even going to try it. And I'm not afraid to admit that I don't like a game that I haven't tried. I'm just saying it. I'm just going to say it.
So that's a no.
I think he did, but he was probably so ashamed with how fucking terrible he was, he didn't want to show the gameplay.
I'm not ashamed how
That's
terrible I am.
That's probably a good idea, because anybody that would see it is like, oh yeah, I wonder why you don't like it.
I know I suck.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like the first guy in the Elden Ring hot takes video who attacked the guy at the start and was like, he kills me in one hit.
Yeah, and you know exactly what he did. Is he opened up that thing, he tried to hit the NPC kept killing him, finally gets around the NPC, fights the fucking Sentinel once, dies, and then he writes his fucking review.
He's like, well, that's a wrap.
Yeah, alright, well this game sucks, that was easy. So yeah, this guy, TV makes this video, and then Mischief makes a video making fun of his Elden Ring opinion. And I think that, like, in general, there were no real personal attacks in this video, no real threats or anything.
Okay. So now we're seeing the first escalation here. There was no personal attacks in that first video when it came to Elden Ring, okay? 2 conflicting opinions about a game, whatever, This is where it all starts, okay? This is where it starts. And we're going to fast forward a little bit for the sake of time. Actman makes a video about Elden Ring. Quantum makes a video about Elden Ring. 2 conflicting opinions. Quantum deletes his video. Axeman utilizes under common use to use this video and use it as content. And then Quantum weaponizes DMCA striking against Actman's channel. This is where the weaponizing of DMCA and unspecified copyright claim clauses come into the realm of danger. Like right now, we're streaming. because I'm talking about this, I'm streaming both to YouTube, and I'm streaming to Twitch, and I'm streaming to TikTok. I'm streaming to all three of these platforms. We are at risk of being demonetized of one of three. And that doesn't mean that execs of each company don't talk to each other. So we could be demonetized on all three. However, I think this is extremely important to talk about, because there should not be silence. We should talk about this. We should talk about how there needs to be reform and deeper understanding and deeper description of what constitutes a copyright strike. Because to my knowledge, we have Creative Commons licenses, which allows us to use content for the purpose of creativity. If you're not making commercials, if you're not selling a product with that content, you can use it. It's like me using Asmongold's video right now to explain things. It's that simple.
Like that. And then Actman makes his video, the worst Elden Ring hot takes. And this was the first video that you actually talked about Quantum, right?
Yeah, there was a couple other guys that so an unsung hero of this that I meant to shout out in one of my other videos was for Tenga Plays, because he made the video after Mischief and then Review Tech USA and then some other guys, and then I was the one that you could argue kind of blew the hot takes up, and then he copyright struck me, and then
so Quantum sent you a copyright strike right after you did the worst Elden Ring hot takes.
Yeah, it was about 3 days after the video went up.
Holy shit. And did he try to contact you or anything before he
Nope.
sent? He just fucking shoot first, ask questions later.
Yep.
Okay, and you feel like he didn't even, and I've made this clear, I agree with this, but he didn't even really try to look into whether it was fair use or not. He just saw his content being presented, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's the term, is fair use. There is no check to see if it was fair use content or whatever he just said. Oh, that's me, so I'm gonna take it down.
He tried to twist it around to kind of be like, you're stealing my content. This isn't fair use. But I think that was just his excuse to silence criticism about him, which is like, after looking into the AV community and like a bunch of smaller tech
audio,
channels,
video, right? And that's like that's what he usually does. Okay.
That's what he's done to other content creators, like way before any of this shit.
Yeah.
Because Elden Ring just got it to blow up, but like he's been doing this kind of thing, like, oh, you talk shit about me, or my TV settings, well, I'm gonna strike you.
Oh yeah.
He's done that like 4 years ago, 2 years ago.
So he's weaponized copyright strikes in the
Repeated behavior, repeated pattern of behavior. One time, okay, he strikes Actman's video. Maybe. Given the benefit of the doubt, he actually thought that it was in fact copyright. But when you weaponize multiple times over the last couple of years the DMCA copyright form, that is abuse. That is what we're talking about today, is weaponizing to silence your opposition, copyright DMCA striking. And in fact, on the form, when you go to fill out the DMCA strike, the copyright claim, when you fill that form out, when you sign the bottom of that form, you are agreeing under the penalty of perjury that all the information is accurate and true to the best of your knowledge. So weaponizing a repeated pattern of behavior, if they go back and see, okay, it looks like Quantum, you filed for a copyright claim on, say, like October 2015, December of 2017, March of 2018. If they see a repeat, I'm not saying he actually did this. What I'm saying is a repeated pattern of behavior. This is where YouTube should be investigating to see if DMCA has been weaponized, which obviously it has.
Past, even in cases where it would be almost impossible to not claim fair use.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
So then after all this happened, you went through and you and a bunch of other people, as soon as your video came out, looked through a bit of his past. And that was kind of shocking.
And I want to issue a trigger warning here for my audience, because my community is a safe community. My little brother, he is dating a very nice young man. His name is Cammy. Congratulations, Chase. I'm very happy for you. You guys have been going a couple years strong now. Your first relationship has lasted longer than mine. So this is a safe place to be who you want to be. So let me issue this trigger warning now. This is my largest problem with Quantum TV. His past and the way that he has spoken on those in the LGBTQ community. That is a problem. And in fact, Quantum has gone so far talking about the LGBTQ community that he actually has had accounts taken down, not struck, but taken down by YouTube in the past for hate speech because of his feelings towards the LGBTQ community. And I say the community as a whole because I'm not going to use certain terminology to single out the certain people that he was talking about. We all know who he was talking about. I think we can all figure it out from here. But I do want to put that disclaimer on here that it might be a trigger warning. They are going to talk about some pretty disturbing shit with Quantum TV. And I would also like to add that Actman's not innocent either. He used a derogatory slang towards LGBTQ community, not in a direct way, but it was a word that he was using, and he has publicly apologized for that. He is trying to put a better foot forward, and I think that's at least something that's commendable.
If you want me to be honest with you, like some of the stuff that he said, it's like this is like he doesn't want to be part of the gay Satanist butt sex agenda. That's a lot.
I don't want to participate in the anal sex the liberal people tell me to.
Oh my god. I mean, and like for somebody, you know, it's something like doth protest too much, right? Or something like that about being guilty of something. I find that to be a bit odd. And
this is also a politically neutral channel, guys. As you know, I'm libertarian. I listen to all ideas, all opposing ideas, all different civil discourse. I think it's important. Yeah, I think we could see where we're heading here.
also, he's accused you or other people of sexually harassing him by photoshopping cucumbers around his mouth.
I still think that's funny.
I apologize to anybody watching in the audience that is young. We're talking about extremely sexual things right now, like cucumbers poorly photoshopped over someone's mouth, not even in his mouth.
Intense.
So I hope your audience
done a much
is prepared.
better job.
Oh yeah, and that was kind of the point. It was like a 1 minute edit, like
Yeah.
But the reason I did that is because he had a clip of him trying to call Review Tech USA like a porn star, because there was an image of Review Tech USA with a cucumber in his mouth. He was like, "Wow, look, you're sucking on cucumbers in such a provocative way," and then so I just I just turned the tables on him. But they're like,
he didn't like that at all.
No, he didn't like that one bit.
Yeah, I certainly am not surprised. And so you basically, whenever you basically contested this copyright strike that Quantum initially put on your channel. And so what happened between you and YouTube whenever that happened?
I actually didn't have to contest anything, because when I checked my email, it was like, "Hey, we've got a copyright takedown notice, but we want you to know that it's bogus,
bullshit,
so we're not taking the video down." And then I was like, "Oh shit, he actually tried that against me."
So I'm
and I
looking
was
for
like,
additional
"Oh, buddy,
lighting.
you opened a new can of worms."
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. And anyway, so this had happened, and this was kind of a turning point where you actually made the second video about this, where you kind of went through and explained a little bit more about his past and like things that he had posted before. Is that right?
This is when I was like, okay, he's tried to strike Mischief. He's tried to strike me. What else has he done? Because this seems like
And
a
I'm
guy
sure we'll
that
be
is-
next on that list.
And
as well.
I saw that he had been in the comments
okay.
of other videos and like threatening legal action and litigation, and like I don't want to crush a smaller channel with litigation and take down this thumbnail that has my face in it. Otherwise, I'll issue a strike. And I saw this and I was like, this is someone who's clearly weaponizing DMCA's to silence criticism about him. So I'm pulling no fucking punches this time.
Of course, yeah. I think that one of the things is like DMCA's and copyright strike abuse is the one thing that everybody on YouTube agrees on that they just universally fucking hate.
And we just
That's
don't
the only thing, in my opinion. I think that like everything else people argue about and fight about, etc. But it's like you get more of a I don't know really what to say about this, like a consensus about DMCA strikes than you do about if the Earth is flat or not.
Yeah,
everybody agrees on this.
That's fair.
Yeah, which is kind of nice that like everyone, I've kind of been talking about this here and there. But, as a community, we need to figure out this copyright abuse thing and enforce punishments against people that abuse DMCAs so that we can all go back to hating each other like it was.
Well, yeah, those were the good old days. And I think that's the thing is that most people would probably agree that if you falsely issue a DMCA strike, your channel should just be taken down. Like, that's what I think, at least.
Hang on. Yeah. Yes, but no. Repeated patterns of behavior. If you are in a feud and it is super fiery and you guys are really into it and arguing and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to do this. The point of no return. YouTube should give you a warning. Maybe you get a strike yourself. You get 3 strikes before your channel is completely taken down. I don't think a one-off should be completely punishable. Like, to the extent of losing everything. You can correct bad behavior. Because when you think you won't get caught, you're more likely to do something. But if YouTube says, hey, we know what you're doing, stop dicking around, then you're going to be like, alright, yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I don't believe a one-off should be, okay, one and done.
About totally being taken down, but
you're right,
I think
there's nuance to it. You're right.
Yeah, if it's like one time, maybe you get pissed off. Like I'm against the idea that one big mistake. Yeah. So let's say Quantum just issued the strike against Mischief, and that was it. And he learned his lesson, and maybe he got a copyright strike himself for issuing false strikes, and he didn't do it again.
Uno reverse.
Yeah, but then you add into the fact that he's in comment sections every day threatening litigation, threatening legal action.
He'll be in this comment section
more
too.
Strikes and copyright claims, and he's doing this to other people, and he's done it to people in the past. Once you add the context of like, okay, this is not an isolated incident, then your channel should be deleted because you're a plague on the community and you're threatening people's livelihoods.
Yeah, I think so. And like, speaking of threatening people's livelihoods, at what point in this video saga, just for the audience that's catching up to this, what point of this did Quantum, I'm assuming, go online and find your personal information and then call your mother?
So I'm not entirely sure when he did that. He may have done it before or after the worst Elden Ring hot takes, but he called my mom 42 minutes after the copyright abuse video went up. Now that video is 31 minutes long, so he had
finished
time
the whole
to
thing, and then he just went right to it.
Well, he finished the video, maybe took a nice shit, maybe got himself a little snack, and then called my mom.
And so, like, what did he say to your mom that made you feel like it was a threat, besides the fact of just contacting her in the first place, which, in my opinion, is completely over the line?
Yeah, it was kind of just like intimidation tactics, and the way he was talking to her is just like, anytime I was like, man, should I press through with this
I really hope that she recorded that phone call. A lot of states are one-party state. New York is one of them specifically. If you were in one of these one-party states, only you have to have knowledge that you're recording. The other person doesn't even have to know that you're recording. This is important for cases like this because when YouTube doesn't do something, you can go above and beyond and go to the courts. And you can go to a civil matter. It is so important that you record all your phone calls. That, I promise you, is invaluable. I'm dealing with my own situation with that right now. Completely unrelated to this, but record your calls. If you have the ability, it can only help you, not hurt you.
This dark age of YouTube video, I went back and I would just listen to
Make sure you check your state laws though, because not every state is a one-party state.
the way that he talked to my mom, and I would just get this fire inside me, like, fuck it, I'm gonna work 14 hours on this video today.
And you said, yeah, and you said on your thing that if he ever came on your property, you'd shoot him, right? Or threatened you, or
Yeah.
anything like that?
Welcome to the Castle Clause. State of Florida, baby.
Well,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. And there are some people that criticize this. I'm not really sure what state you live in, but I'm in Texas. I think that sounds just about right.
Castle doctrine.
Yeah, castle doctrine. That's right. I think it sounds just about fucking right. You threaten somebody's family. You take things into the real life sector, and you better expect that's going to happen. I think that
Those lines that I was talking about not crossing earlier, where you take things out of the internet and bring it in real life.
that's what should happen. And so, yeah. I completely support that. And you obviously sent some of this stuff to YouTube, and you tried to get. When was the first time you tried to contact YouTube directly about quantum?
I think it was after he tried to copyright strike the Elden Ring hot takes video, because the copyright abuse came out like maybe a week or 8+ days later, and so I was basically in talks with YouTube for a bit, and they took my statement and I gave them a handful of links, and then they said they'd investigate it, and then a few days later they came back and they were like, okay, yeah, we didn't find any community guidelines violations. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just have to go balls to the walls on this
And
one.
that's whenever that was the picture that you had posted on Twitter, and it was showing basically that, like, yeah, we've looked into it and we didn't find any sort of violation, right? And that's whenever they said that if you call them, that they're not going to reverse the decision. Is that effectively it?
That was the very last time. So
Oh my god.
Twitter is a cesspool, in my opinion. Half of them are bots. Elon showed you that. I don't use Twitter. Never did. Not a fan of it. I think it's an echo chamber, and I think any platform that becomes an echo chamber, your algorithm should change and force you to learn civil discourse. You should have to talk to people you don't know, people you might not always agree with. It helps open your mind. And honestly, I can tell you from a personal aspect, being on TikTok, which is a primary super liberal platform, I am now friends with communists. I am now friends with anarchists. I am now friends with conservatives. I am now friends with Republicans and libertarians all alike, because they all have great ideas. They all have, even though we don't agree on everything, they all have wonderful ideas. Some that I do agree with, some that they can give me a different angle to look at, which changes my opinion. I think it's important. That's why I don't use Twitter, because there are so many bots that are astroturfing to cause division. You don't know if you're actually having a civil discourse conversation with a human being or a bot. So when somebody's just so headstrong and doesn't want to discuss something and use civil discourse, and instead they just want to attack you, you don't know if it's a bot doing it or if it's actually in fact a person.
God, so this is another
yeah.
one.
Yeah, so that was the very last time. I waited to drop the news that they weren't going to do anything until my video, The Dark Age of YouTube, was close to completion.
Right.
Because I wanted Quantum to feel victorious for the shortest amount of time possible.
Of course. Yeah,
So,
his ego is not getting larger and larger, yeah.
Yeah, there was basically three investigations that YouTube apparently...
You can see the punishments here why striking is so serious, and I'm going to read it to you for those of you that can't read it because you're on a mobile device. Your content was removed due to a violation of our community guidelines. and you can see that the warning bubble is highlighted. Because it's your first time, this is just a warning. If it happens again, your channel will get a strike and you won't be able to do things like upload, post, or live stream for 1 week. A second strike will prevent you from publishing content for 2 weeks. 3 strikes in any 90-day period will result in a permanent removal of your channel. We want to help you stay on YouTube, so please, 1, make sure you understand YouTube's community guidelines and strikes basics, which is irrelevant to you because they are not actually enforcing their own basics. You will see that. 2, review your content with our policies in mind. If after reviewing your content you think we made a mistake, let us know. You can appeal this decision. This is important. I am very familiar with the appeal process, unfortunately, because I do it with TikTok almost every week. It is exhausting, but this is a part of your job description as a content creator. When you're reaching masses of people, not everybody thinks the way you do. So when you reach these masses of people and they don't think the way you do, they will try to get your videos taken down. And when this happens, you have to work with the platform. It's not fun. Imagine DMV, but worse because there's like 8 billion of you using the platform. So they have to get to you when they can get to you. It's like standing in line at a giant goddamn DMV. It sucks, but we do it. 3, understand that this strike will expire after 90 days and that deleting the video will not remove the strike. Taking down the video does not remove your strike. It is not one of those things where it's like, hey, this person said that this is their content, you need to take it down. If you take it down, we're good. But no, it doesn't work that way. TikTok uses a very similar method. When you get a video taken down, whether it's CGL, community guidelines, whether it's copyright, even if it's overturned when you appeal it, it sticks. It doesn't make sense. So even when they were wrong, you were still wrong because you dared post something that could even be misconstrued as being wrong, and you wasted their time. This is the one-edged sword where it's only the content creators that get cut, if that makes sense. And unless you're large enough and bring enough revenue in, which a lot of content creators collectively bring revenue in, so losing one does not hurt them too bad. Yeah, it won't get better.
Conducted. The first one was kind of a short one, and they said, yeah, no community guidelines violations, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to remove all doubt. So I spent like 8 hours the next day compiling this big what I call a dossier, like 35.
That was honestly, like, I'm just gonna be honest, I think using the terminology dossier here was a very poor choice in words. That's just my opinion. I say that because of the current climate of society. I don't believe dossier is a very good term for the letter that he wrote. I would just call it a letter. Whether it is implicit to a bad meaning or whatever, I think given the current temperature of the climate, we need to be more conscientious of the things that we're saying, because it can hurt us in the long run. Words have meaning, words do hurt, and mental health is real. So I think it's very important that we exercise a little bit of caution and compassion when we use certain terms. That's just me.
500-word document outlines all the
500 words is not a dossier, it's a letter.
harassment, the copyright strikes, images. I linked to videos of other people talking about it. Basically, this huge fucking document. Yeah. And I sent it to YouTube. And again, they were like, yep, no community guidelines violations. And then I was like, okay, but here are 3 videos of him encouraging his audience to look up my personal information. He has a phone call that he himself published.
So that's another thing. He meaning Quantum TV, he promoted doxing Actman. He promoted doxing somebody. That is serious. That's bad. And in fact, Quantum did dox Actman. He called his mother. Like, imagine for a second that the kid on Call of Duty, that he calls your job because you guys were arguing. He says, Call of Duty sucks. You say, no, Call of Duty's great. So he turns around and he calls your job and says that you're a vile human being, you're a bad person, you don't align with the culture of the work, and if you're actually good people, you'll let him go. Imagine that Call of Duty player does that, and then they turn around and escalate it further, and then call your mother and tell them that you're a bad person. That's essentially what happened here.
Where he's talking to my mom, like, this is clearly not okay. And they were like, well.
So did...
And then he made a video of him talking to Actman's mother and posted it online. He literally posted the incriminating evidence of him doxing somebody, and YouTube did nothing. And you'll understand here soon. We will get into it very soon, TM. Why YouTube is not doing anything about it. I have a theory, and I can't completely blame YouTube for exercising caution here. You will see.
Did
Nope.
YouTube ever explicitly, like, kind of condone that, or did they just not address that specifically?
They did not address it at all.
And do you think that YouTube actually looked through the evidence? Like, basically what I'm asking is, like, do you think this is an instance of YouTube choosing not to act, or basically incompetency taking the wheel?
Willful incompetence.
I feel like this is,
It's willful incompetence.
in my opinion, it's like pure incompetence,
Yeah.
because I don't know what they looked at on their back end. I can only assume that the only stuff they looked at was the stuff that I sent them,
Right.
and they didn't tell me about anything they looked at on the back end. If like how many other copyright disputes.
If YouTube stays out of it as a platform, they're protected currently because they're considered a platform and can't be held liable for the content that's posted. However, if they edit content or take it down because it violates their guidelines, they then become a content creator. This has been the loophole and the argument, the catch-22, for years. People on Facebook, for example, post something, Facebook takes it down, it violates community guidelines. Okay, now they have become an editor. They are no longer protected by the government as a platform.
He's been in, or why his previous channel was banned for hate speech, what kind of things he was talking about. They didn't tell me shit.
Well, and he had intentionally tried to obfuscate and make harder to connect his old channel with this new channel.
Quantum TV was banned for hate speech on his previous channel, amongst other things.
Is that right? That was the quantum
Oh, yeah.
apotheosis one?
Yeah. And
So, like,
I have
how did,
a video. I have a video feed someone sent me of them going through like his old Facebook posts, and that's really important because you can actually see him linking a lot of like really fucking weird titled videos, like heterophobic gay pride exposed, episode 337.
That's halfway through.
You know, so like what I find really crazy is
So essentially, Quantum TV is homophobic. Now this we'll go through his comment section because there's people that are asking this question. How do you feel about G people? And he says, I judge people based off of their actions, meaning Quantum TV says this. However, his videos and his past and his bans for hate speech all show him in a different light. It shows that he feels some type of way about the LGBTQ community. He feels some type of way about those types of people and their rights. And I think it's important that we look at actions versus words. You can tell me that you didn't rob a bank when you pull out a wad of cash, But if I look in that wad of cash and there's an ink pack, your actions spoke to me more truer than your words.
We don't even know like what kind of shit he was saying on the Quantum Apotheosis channel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is just the shit that we found in the Facebook posts and the tweets and stuff.
So it's like you don't really even know how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah, we can only assume.
So how much of that evidence is actually on his platforms at this moment? Like if you go to his Facebook page or
his
Twitter,
his Facebook has been privated, I think, and his Twitter has been deleted. So it's none of it is there anymore.
Okay, so it's all completely gone.
Holy shit. Are we sure that Quantum and Bobby Kotick aren't friends? Because this is like a playbook right out of Bobby Kotick's. This is a play out of Bobby Kotick's playbook. Deleting evidence. I mean, the only thing that we're missing now is a full state investigation where they have to change the laws because he's destroyed so much evidence.
At least publicly available. There, of course, is the Wayback Machine,
right?
Which, if you have links to his
is
Twitter and Facebook, you can kind of look into that.
Go check out the Wayback Machine if you've never tried it.
We also have like video feeds and stuff.
Okay, so basically, like you've already looked through all of this stuff, and YouTube, whenever you provided that evidence to them, effectively what they said was that it wasn't enough. This is like, well, we don't really know. It could be. They think that you faked basically everything?
So the fact that YouTube wouldn't use the Wayback Machine as a means of discovering evidence to support or deny the claims that were against Quantum TV is really kind of funny because they actually used the Wayback Machine to look at old tweets. I think it was tweets for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. So the Wayback Machine was used as secondary evidence for that case. So it's very possible to use it, especially in a court of law. But the fact that YouTube wasn't willing to do it just to get this out of the way. Think of how much resources and how much time and effort that YouTube is wasting because they couldn't just fix the problem right then and there. Instead of dealing with this in the first place, which again, you'll see why they didn't deal with this the way that they should have in the first place. If that had just dealt with it right then and there, this wouldn't be a problem.
Is that right?
I can only assume what they thought. It's just strange that, you know, with the amount of evidence provided, it's like, okay, let's see if these screenshots were faked. The thing about Quantum is if you try to dispute one thing about him,
yeah,
like let's say people were skeptical about the gay liberal satanic atheist agenda post. Let's say you're skeptical about that.
Sure.
You can look at 6 other things that corroborate that statement.
So I think that's kind of, and that's a big point because obviously people have brought up previous tweets that you've made where you use like the homophobic F word, etc. And there's not really a lot of corroboration to show that this was actually.
And this is what we were talking about earlier. You can tell people what they're doing right, but you also need to tell people what they're doing wrong. Actman was wrong. I was wrong. I used to use that type of terminology. I'm 28 years old though. When we were younger, that was okay. You either change with the times or you get left behind. It's that simple. And you know what? Those types of things that I used to say, looking back on it, hindsight is 2020. My little brother is a part of the LGBTQ community. Looking back on it now, I look at my younger self and I say, how would I have felt if somebody said that type of stuff to my little brother? What would I have done? I probably would have done things to that person that I can't say on these platforms because that's my blood. And the only time I should ever worry about who he's sleeping next to is if they ever put hands on him.
Actually done with malice, and it was just more so done because that's just how you were talking then, and you don't really use those words anymore. You don't talk like that anymore, do you?
I mean, it's like
personal
I didn't
growth.
treat my platform. I treated my platform back then like like I was stubborn in the sense that I thought, well, my social norms and the social norms that I grew up with should also extend to the internet.
Right, yeah.
And that was
I
rather
thought the same way.
foolish, but
I watch a lot of these content creators so I can learn the mistakes that they've made so I don't repeat them. To avoid certain hurdles, so I don't have to jump over the same hurdles and hit those same roadblocks.
yeah, but you learn and you move on. The thing that I always find interesting about those tweets that they share, it's like that's the only fucking thing they have. And so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I moved past that, like like you know, I'm not saying the same shit. If you all that shit was from 4 or 5 years ago, and I haven't done anything similar to that since. Grown and moved on.
Yeah,
But
I think it's
That's like Asmongold no longer using the term autistic as a phrase that he uses when he's calling something a name. You go through personal growth and you become a better person. But you have to be able to admit that the person you were before is not who you are now and you were wrong back then. And sometimes it's very hard for people to look at their old self and say, hey, I was kind of stupid, I was a dumb kid, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have done this, yada yada. But that's not who I am today. Let my actions speak louder than my words. And that's what Actman's doing by saying, yep, I was wrong. That's not who I am anymore, I'm doing better.
it's clearly not a this is not a pattern of behavior. It's not something that, like, for example, with Quantum, this was something that was reflected over years. And also, like, I do think
And
that
still
there
is,
is
'cause
a
he is
very
yet
big
to
distinction
admit.
between somebody who uses a slur and somebody who uses a slur with malice behind it, and they
Yeah.
also have, like, more, like, they're talking about those people that it refers to, and they're hoping that they get shot. Like,
Yeah.
I find this to be a disingenuous comparison.
Asmongold's referring to the preacher in Texas that said that anybody that's a part of the LGBTQ community should have horrible things happen to them. That's what he's referring to. Is when he's talking about this.
Yeah, I like the term you make intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, you can saying a slur or calling your buddy a slur is not the same as wishing death on groups of people based on intrinsic things they can't change
That's
about themselves.
categorical under that slur.
Yeah, exactly. Or like using slurs directed at someone. And even in those old tweets, it was never directed at someone in particular.
Right,
It
yeah.
was always like just kind of me being edgy and obnoxious. So,
Yeah,
you know what I
basically
mean?
it was edgy, but it was not done with actual malice or ill intent.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, besides that, and was YouTube aware of this? Did they say anything to you about, like, your conduct? Because clearly what happened is that YouTube had sent you this message, and how many times did you correspond back and forth with YouTube leading up to the point where they demonetize your channel?
Let's see. I had probably 30 emails with a liaison for the copyright and community guidelines teams. You want to know something that's really funny? I haven't actually shared this.
Okay.
I didn't share this in the video. Let me see. Yeah, so in the very first email where they said, I want you to know we have completed a thorough investigation. So this is April 29th. We have completed a thorough investigation of the videos you flagged to us. At this time, we have determined the videos do not violate any of our community guidelines and therefore do not warrant any action by YouTube. So at this point, I had already linked the videos, I believe, of him doxing my mom.
Right.
So they go on to say, we take these allegations
one
seriously
second,
and want
guys.
members of our community to feel safe when they are on our platform. Please report channels or content that you feel violate YouTube's harassment policy. Here's the funny part. We'd also like to convey and reinforce the responsibilities of creators on the platform as their audience and influence grows. Creator responsibility is of utmost importance. Statements like the ones you made on your Twitter account can be very harmful. You have a very large audience, and with that growth comes the responsibility of being aware that your statements targeting other YouTubers can often lead to targeted harassment. So this was in regards to me saying, if you show up on my property, I will shoot you. That was in regards to the tweet after he had doxed my mom.
Did they refer to that tweet, or are you assuming that?
Yeah. No, that's the tweet that they were
They
referring
explicitly referred to the tweet, and so they said that you saying that if the guy showed up at your property, and again, I want to provide some context for this, because this might sound like randomly telling a person that you will shoot them over an internet beef is very clearly a bad thing. But whenever this person invades your personal space and calls your mom, indicating that, you know, you of course know their real name and their phone number
and their address,
and their address,
and my brother and my father and me and my mother, and you're bragging about all this shit.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not. You have to think like a crazy person who is willing to escalate a bad Elden Ring review into doxing someone else's family.
It's not unreasonable to think that that person would not escalate it even farther.
Exactly.
And like that's happened before with people online.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the Boogie situation.
Yeah, with Frank Hassel. I remember that. And so, yeah, I want to just say, I mean, I've said this multiple times, right, is that I think that's totally fair. I do. And like, maybe this is an American take, and if it is, proud to be an American.
Amen.
If somebody comes into my space or something like that, they just... I think that, you know, you put your wife on the line whenever you do that, especially in a malicious way. I think that's completely fair, especially whenever
Agreed.
it's somebody who seems unhinged, with like a lot of his other posts, etc. This is not a person who is of a sound mind. So it's like you never know what a crazy person's going to do.
Yeah,
True.
like we're not gonna take chances. I liked what you said in I think one of your videos or one of your streams. You were like, if you don't want any problems, just don't go into other people's houses. You know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if you don't want to get shot, just go into somebody else's house. Exactly, and I think that's totally fucking fair. You're gonna fuck around, you're gonna find out. You know, that's it. And I think it's totally fair to do that. And also, I think that it's ridiculous for YouTube to tone police you on that, especially. So
to overlook it entirely, it's like you saw the montage and your reactions.
Well,
But if they see, by saying that, they acknowledged that they are aware that Quantum TV did in fact dox Ackman. They implicitly have acknowledged that he was doxed by saying that.
Wait a second. So actually, like, by the nature of them acknowledging that tweet, they would have had to then acknowledge the fact that Quantum doxed you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Like that's logically like what it would be. Like maybe they just looked at it in a vacuum, but I think so. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I don't know how you could be so detached from the situation to see that and be like, why is this statement being made? And it's the same thing with like the doxing adventures with Actman tweet, the tweet that got me completely demonetized. It's like, it's hard to feel like there's not something malicious going on when it would have taken like 5 minutes to reach out and be like, hey, are you serious? And I would have been like, no.
So that
get a sense of humor next time.
So this
get a sense of humor.
Yeah, this is the tweet that you made about doxing the
all right, so now that we're all caught up, this is a whole over Elden Ring video, okay? But it's a little bit more than that. It's about fair use, okay? Fair use, copyright claims, and weaponizing DMCA, and why it's dangerous, and why you should be aware of it if you're thinking about becoming a content creator. Why it's super important that we get clarification on DMCA clauses and copyright strike basics for companies like YouTube, for companies like TikTok. Because I can tell you, I deal with appeals on a weekly basis. The more people you reach, the likelihood of them thinking the same way you do decreases. And the odds of you finding somebody that isn't in their stable mind and will do anything to get you taken down just because they don't like the way you think, that increases. All right. So now that we're all caught up here, and we watched this video with Ackman and Quantum TV, and we understand. Let's go ahead and jump into the response video, which is where we will explain why YouTube is taking a more hands-off approach when it comes to the actions of Quantum TV. I believe YouTube is afraid of legal repercussions for taking any action against Quantum TV. Whether or not it is in fact for the reason that he's about to state, I don't believe it. If they were to take action against him, it's because he's doxing people and he's weaponizing DMCA, and then he's playing the victim. But let me also say this: for those people that are watching YouTube and are watching this whole thing unfold, you need to understand, if you are commenting on Quantum TV's videos and saying racist things, I believe that you should, firstly, your account should be banned. Secondly, your IP address should be banned. And thirdly, a letter should be sent to your ISP, and your router MAC address should also be banned. There are lines that we do not cross. It's that simple. You are not personally invested in this. This is not your fight. And even if it was your fight, there's a million other reasons to not like Quantum TV. And if racism is your go-to, then that is not a problem that you have with Quantum TV. That is a problem that you just have in general, because you must not like yourself. And there's no place in this world, not on this platform, not in the mall, not in a Walmart, there's no place in this world for those types of comments. It's that simple. So let's go ahead and watch this.
And then I was like, oh shit,
All
he
right.
actually tried that against me, and I was like, oh buddy.
Yeah.
Did you see that intro? He basically just admitted to copyright striking Ackman. He admitted to it.
Opened a new can of worms.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, everybody? This is the Act Attorney here, giving you a little status update on the whole Quantum TV business. It has been taking a while, and part of that's because I've been compiling every bit of information on him in regards to his harassment of other YouTubers.
What's up,
He
Kevin?
actually tried that against me, and I was like, oh buddy. You
Yeah.
opened a new can of worms.
There's the copyright abuse, the homophobia, transphobia, the hate speech, the bigoted. Posts, just everything he's done, and I'm compiling it all into a single document that I will then forward to YouTube.
Oh buddy. You
Yeah.
opened a new can of worms.
So, I would like your guys' help in getting him removed from the platform permanently, that we can bring to this tweet so that, you know, we get as much evidence as possible against him, because there truly is no shortage of it.
A few moments later.
So again, we need to look at habits. How many times has he done this? And he thinks this shit's so funny. He thinks this is hilarious. Hilarious.
this to court. If I have to. I'm fully willing to take YouTube and Quantum TV to court now. Fully willing.
Just
A dragon never yields.
One, they said, yes, the video was removed for unwanted sexualization. They wouldn't confirm to me if this was it literally just in reference to that cucumber picture, which apparently...
The cucumber picture was funny. It was funny. Y'all out here laughing at people like Justin Bieber, who are dealing with a super rare condition, and getting upset over a poorly photoshopped photo.
Has become a massive part of, but they did confirm it was for unwanted sexualization. So that the suspension of monetization is actually not connected to your videos. What they said is that it is connected to a tweet of yours that has since been deleted, where you threaten to dox and harass the families of YouTube employees and creator families. So just to be clear, so that we can kind of get past it, you did not publicly mention the reason you were suspended being related to the tweet because of why?
I didn't reveal that because at the time I wasn't sure what information I should be sharing. I didn't reveal that information not to mislead people, but because I did.
Let me see. Let me find the video. I thought this was it, I guess not.
And then I was like, oh shit, he actually.
It has been taking a while, and part of that's because.
Right here.
I got.
Okay. So now we're going to discuss YouTube putting themselves. They're trying to avoid putting themselves in a situation where they could be held liable to an extent. Listen to the terminology.
I got a text this morning from Anonymous, and I kind of want to share it with you guys. I'll leave it up on the screen so you can read it. I'll paraphrase. Long story short, I've been in this annoying drama with the Act Man. I've been trying to distance myself and walk away from it and ignore it, but it's not going away. The moment I turn my back,
Act Man didn't slip, by the way, on DeFranco's show. He admitted that he took it too far, and he shouldn't have. That's not him slipping, that's him taking accountability. That's something that a lot of people out here could learn from and take advice from. Because a lot of you people out here are just doubling down. When you're wrong, you just double down. And then you're even more wrong. And then you get in this hole that's so deep that you can't even climb out with a ladder.
I have more knives being thrown in it than I care to fucking admit out loud because it's really stupid and unnecessary. But now I'm coming out as a creator being maliciously targeted by the Act Man and his fans and saying that this is happening. This is 100% a thing, and I'm being racially targeted in 2022.
All right. There it is. That is my theory why YouTube is hands off. That terminology right there. They don't want to be seen as the company that racially targets a channel. Whether that is in fact the case or not, they don't want to go down that road. It will cost them less to get rid of Act Man than it would cost them in legal fees to deal with this in court. This is the big red button number 2. The first big red button is obviously DMCA weaponizing.
How the hell? It needs to stop. I'm going to point it out, okay? The Act Man, on his interview with Phil DeFranco, says that he doesn't think it's a big deal what he said with threatening to dox YouTube employees and families, and says that he was very angry. The same day that he was writing the tweet, he was very angry, but then wants to pretend like it was just a joke. No, he made a rage post.
He didn't say that it was a joke. He said it was satire. It was satire out of frustration. There's a difference. And he felt like it wasn't that big of a deal because there are two other tweets where he was basically making fun of the situation and shedding light through satire on the things that Quantum TV has been getting away with.
Put his foot in his mouth, and YouTube acted on it. Only after getting demonetized, does he sit there and try to backtrack and say, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, no. I mean, really. He put his foot in his own mouth. And now justice for Actman? He literally
Spell policy's wrong.
withheld pieces of information surrounding the circumstances of him getting demonetized. His first tweet was that Quantum TV is flagging
How are you gonna spell policies wrong and then say stuff like furthermore?
all of his videos. What this did was lead to a ton of racially motivated
Spelled demonetized wrong.
posts in my comment section threatening to murder me, my family, everyone I've ever known, all kinds of things. Some people with actual details of my actual family members.
Right there. That is what I was talking about earlier. If you are using race as a way to attack this content creator, you are a bad person. You should be banned from the platform by account, by IP address, and by router MAC address, and permanently banned from your ISP from ever being allowed on the platform again. Death threats and racist comments. You are so far out of your mind, you're crazier than Quantum TV. I'm just going to say that now. If this is actually the case, and he is not Jussie Smolletting us, if that is actually the case, and he has the evidence to back it up, YouTube should be banning every single one of these people by those 3 factors. It's that simple. There's lines that you don't cross, and these are those lines that I'm talking about. Just because Quantum doxes Actman's mom, or Actman in general, and calls his mom, does not give you the green light to get on his platform, dox him, and threaten his family. He's entitled, as an American, to the same rights of self-defense as you are, as I am, and for you to even threaten things like that makes you a complete moron and a terrible person.
That has never been made public at all.
Sitting ducks ahead, who wants them?
What's the plan, Michelle?
Damn, he got the ad revenue.
Greetings.
This is the kind of thing
Should've turned on
that
ad
pisses me
blocker.
off. And this is why I'm taking to the platform to try to spread awareness that this is the kind of creator he is. Because he is not a victim. This pity attempt that he's doing is nothing more than that. He's trying to garner support as he literally sits there and lies about the circumstances surrounding what actually happened. He withheld it. And then when confronted by Phil DeFranco about this, which I'm surprised Phil even confronted him about it, he literally tries to sidestep it and be like, oh no, I just didn't want to get my partner in trouble. No, you wanted to frame me, and that's exactly what you did in your opening tweet about the situation. Quantum TV was false flagging all your videos. You said that, sent a fucking lynch mob after me.
The terminology again. This is where everything peaks. This is where it would be in Actman's best interest to walk away from the situation. He's not going to win this. He will not win this. I'm telling you right now, guaranteed he will not win this. Because of the terminology that is being used and the phrasing that is being used. Quantum TV is positioning himself for a discrimination lawsuit against the channel if they dare act against him. And Quantum TV will win. Regardless of all the other things outside of this, because those are separate instances, right? Those are completely separate. What he's going through right now, with people commenting on his stuff, doxing him, doxing his family, and giving death threats. If anything happens to him, and this just shows you guys why when you get involved and you can't just consume content, when you feel the need to get involved, you're actually hurting your favorite content creators. That's completely different than making content like we're doing here. Completely different than making content. But when you get on and you find the need to comment and threaten and do all this extra stuff, that nobody in their right mind should be doing, you're actually hurting your content creator that you like and enjoy. Because now, because you've done this, YouTube's hands are tied. They cannot do anything about this. This isn't Quantum's fault. He didn't put himself in this situation. Y'all that decided to be racist and bigots, y'all did this. And you don't have to like Quantum, but that is just the truth.
And now you're trying to get pity here. And it's working, because as of 44 minutes ago, people are saying you don't deserve to have your entire channel demonetized and your livelihood taken from you.
He doesn't.
But I genuinely believe that, regardless of my feelings of this situation, he totally does. We live in a time where kids and people of all ages think that they can just say, oh, it's just a prank, bro, and everybody walks away with a smile on their face. I was just joking. I apologize. Let's move on from all the terrible things I say and do. Not how it works.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement to make when you said super homophobic things about the LGBTQ community. Yeah. And that is the one thing I will give Actman, is he is at least admitting when he was wrong. That's half the battle, is admitting fault. Which again, Quantum TV is doubling down. But why wouldn't he? Because of the position that y'all have put him in.
There are consequences for your actions, and when you're showed one, you still can't take responsibility. That's why I don't call him the Act Man. I call him Act Boy. He puts his foot in his mouth, points his fingers at me, has 3 pointing back at himself.
To be able to say this about somebody else and not admit your own faults, it shows a condition called narcissism. And it's where you basically you can't see what you're doing. You can't see that you're a manipulative person. You can't see that you're a bad person. You can't see that when you're wrong, and you just can't admit fault. And it's actually not it's just unawareness. Narcissists are incapable of being aware. It's a condition. It's not like he's willfully doing this. I mean, on some level he is, but narcissism, he literally cannot see, Quantum TV cannot see that he has done things that are wrong. He can't, to him, he was right in making the videos that got him banned for hate speech. He was right for ban evading. He was right for doxing. It's a condition called narcissism. And I'm sure a lot of us have dated a narcissist. And you can obviously see the signs if you've dated a narcissist right here.
And literally goes on to mislead his fans into being a lynch mob somehow. I don't know how. I really can't tell you the logistics of how this works on a show.
That's
I don't know.
times.
But what I do know is after he makes racist posts or blames me for some shit, they come after me with stuff like this. When are you going to go back to the jungle? Black privilege much? And that's all I can show you. Because
yeah. So that's the evidence we're looking for. Now I'm curious if we go, right? Go to YouTube. I'm assuming, nope, it's not them. See what video this is. Brutally honest Jurassic World Dominion review. All right. Let's see if we can find this channel. No comments. If I had to guess, if we could find this channel right here, I bet you it's a channel that was newly created. It is a channel that has no age to it or tenure. It's a channel that has no videos. or uploads, and it's a video with no subscribers. And here's my concern. And this is why the internet is a hard place for evidence. Do we know if this is a tenured account with an acting individual behind it that is related to Actman? Is this person acting on behalf of Actman because Actman is one of their favorite content creators? The problem is, when you're a content creator, you have to have a certain level of responsibility. You should be announcing when things like this happen. Do not attack this person. Stay out of it. If you're going to make it internet-wide, you should always put a disclaimer. Do not attack this person. Do not cross those lines. It is not your job. You are not my mother. You are not my family. You should not be attacking the person that I'm in a feud with. That's where he should have put the disclaimer. But I wanted to see if I could find this account. It looks like the account's been taken down, rightfully so. And again, going back to what I said earlier, if you are somebody that makes comments like this, you should be 1, banned by your account, 2, banned by your IP address, and 3, a letter should be forwarded to your ISP, and your MAC address on your router should also be banned from accessing. And if you get on your phone because it's a different MAC address and you have access to the internet and you do the same thing, you should have cops showing up at your door.
Because what comes next after that are a bunch of graphic, bro, the most horrific fucking post you could possibly imagine somebody saying about how they're going to kill this N-word, or, you know, all this other shit. Like, so many graphically, racially, I'm going to kill you tweets. We will spill your blood and all this other shit. Like, bro, it is ridiculous. You know, the kind of stuff that I'm getting right now, because he wants to play victim.
Not because he wants to play victim. But these are the things that happen. It's like, those of you that are on TikTok, right? You know, Lance, Modern Warrior. How many times did somebody disagree with Lance, and his whole community would literally go and report the profile until they got banned off the platform? And then when they made a new account and started building up, they'd wait for him to get built up a little bit, and then they ban him again. Because you have a certain level of personal responsibility to your community. It's that simple. Whether you inadvertently or indirectly weaponize your community, you have a personal responsibility to tell your community you don't need their help. You are a big boy or a big girl or big they or whatever. You have a personal responsibility to tell your community that you can fight your own battles and to stay out of it. Because there is some unhinged ass people out there that will do shit like this. And this is unwarranted. But it is not because he's playing the victim. It is because he did not set a boundary for his community. Not because he's playing the victim, but because he did not take the personal responsibility to set a boundary for his community.
YouTube should step in, but they haven't.
They haven't stepped in with you either, Quantum.
I don't have black privilege. You're commenting this on my videos. If I had black privilege, you wouldn't be able to comment this, right? But you are. Now, let's be very clear for all of my viewers and everybody watching. I don't want privilege. I just want to be left alone, which is the whole reason I even yanked my Elden Ring review, which he took and re-uploaded, which is how this all started to begin with. You didn't like my take? Oh well. You didn't have to take it and antagonize it after it was deleted. If it was deleted, there was a good reason for it, but you brought it back and you made fun of it. You got a DMCA claim. You didn't like that. You called me a copyright abuser. You then go from that into trying to share all the other prior talking points of Mischief and everybody else, and then you start compiling everything from everyone who hates me because you want me terminated off the platform. It just escalates because you don't like me, and it gets further and further and further and further. Let me be very clear. I don't give a fuck who likes me or dislikes me on this platform, but we need to draw a clear line between dislike and mobilizing your influence out of hatred, and that's what he is doing. And the fact that the Quartering and Phil DeFranco can't see through this speaks to their incompetency.
To be fair, I think Phil DeFranco was very hard on Actman. He was very aggressive and well deserving too. Well deserving. Make him answer the hard questions. But Quantum, you have to answer the hard questions too. And this should be the end of it. But somebody's going to have to stand down. Somebody here is going to have to take the maturity to stand down. And at some point, you guys are going to look back at this and realize it was over an Elden Ring video. Some people like Elden Ring. I have friends that have put 1,000 hours into it. I've never played it. I'm not interested in playing it. If it plays like Dark Souls, I don't want to play it. I think Dark Souls was a bad game. Just my opinion. I tried Dark Souls, I suck at it. So I don't like it, but I'm not going to go out and tell everybody else it's a shit game just because I suck at it. It's just not my thing. It's just not for me. But this is all over an Elden Ring review. And Quantum shouldn't have had to take that down. But he also should have been okay under fair use to allow Actman to make a video joking about it. You're going to get hate either way. There's going to be people that are going to get on my channel and probably use my content and make jokes about me. It's the internet.
Because any real reporter would have reached out to me and saw all of this. They refuse to do their journalism or their journalistic integrity part and make sure they're getting both sides of the story. Every time Actman speaks on any of these platforms, it's always, oh wow, this crazy.
Actman left his Twitter up for all the world to see. Quantum, you didn't. You privated your Facebook. What are you hiding? Just let everybody see it. And just admit, yeah, you know, I shouldn't have said that. I know I said that in like 2012, you know, whatever. I was a kid. What do you want me to do? And that's not who I am today. People appreciate personal responsibility and integrity more than they want to burn people at the stake for a mistake that they made.
Crazy copyright abusing, homophobic, bigoted, transphobic, crazy person that doxes people's families is allowed to stay on the platform. I mean, that is not what fucking happened. YouTube investigated what happened and it's in writing. There's a piece of evidence of a communication with YouTube and the Act Boy literally stating that I did not violate community guideline standards or break copyright by abusing their takedown system. Okay?
Wow, look at all the ads.
That piece of evidence completely sidestepped and seen as YouTube's incompetency. And my oh my, now that a verdict has been rendered that he's demonetized because he put his foot in his mouth, they can't accept that either. And by the way, communication was sent as to why he was demonetized. He never can accept communication from YouTube that things didn't go his way. And
but if they didn't go your way, you'd be saying the same thing. And look how many ads so far. We're up to 3 ads so far. So who's really trying to monetize the situation? Honestly. And anybody that's spoken on this also gets DMCA struck. I'm sure I will because I'm using Quantum's video. And they have been demonetized. The difference between myself and other content creators is I run a business. Kevin Fennis, my best friend's in here. He runs a business. And we make 6 figures a year. We make plenty of money. So sacrificing the possibility of monetization for a channel that I've just started for the truth and to speak on a topic is worth it. It is. It's worth it to me.
and then has to somehow throw me under the bus in some fucking weird way and make me seem like a goddamn villain. I didn't do anything, goddammit, and I'm tired of this shit. And I'm not going to act like some cool, calm, collected fucking creator that's getting attacked out of the wazoo that doesn't have any fucking human emotions. This is annoying. Every time this kid fucks up, it's my fault. He did it to himself. Stop attacking me. Stop threatening to kill me and my family members and all this dumb shit. We have nothing to do with it. And the reality is, the fact that this is even going down on the YouTube platform proves that I'm not this fucking like elite CEO crazy guy that pulls strings at YouTube to remove everything he doesn't like. The fact that you can search me and a million other people dogpiling me shows up, proves I don't have connections. What happened was YouTube unbiasedly looked into all your allegations and saw that I was actually innocent of every claim, including ban evasion, like they did 2 years ago when Ninjishin brought it to them. I don't care what your stupid Wayback Machine shows them. The channel was hidden. It is an active channel and has been for a very long time. Okay?
So is he admitting that the homophobia channel is actually real? Because that's kind of what it sounds like. If that's the case, he's admitting that it's actually active and current. That's a problem.
Very long time. I mean, like, since the channel was fucking created, guy. It's not a banned channel. It never was banned. You can't let that go. What part are you willing to accept at this point? Because so far, I've seen everything and every piece of factual information that I give and that YouTube gives being brushed off as incompetency or lies, and you guys can't accept any piece of information. So much so that now you're getting racist and threatening to murder me and my entire family. And somehow, the Actman is seen as a victim, and he doesn't deserve to be demonetized for threatening YouTube's families. Not even my family. They didn't take action because he threatened my family. Oh, no. They took action because
he has a point. Quantum has a very good point here. They did not take action against him when he doxed Actman's mom. And they didn't take action against Actman when third parties doxed Quantum. They're trying to take as much of a hands-off approach as they can. They punish the guy that threatened the organization that runs the platform because it involved them. I can almost guarantee you if Actman hadn't said what he said on Twitter, he would not be demonetized. And they'd just be looking down laughing at these two over an Elden Ring video, fighting it out, and pretending that neither of them exist.
Of their families. So don't give me this shit about I'm some privileged black guy that they won't touch me just because I'm black and all this dumb shit. Like, it's getting so racist and so crazy, and please somebody step in and do something at this point, because I'm tired.
It's not that they won't touch you because of your race. They won't touch you because of the claims of being targeted and using terminology like lynch mob and discrimination. It's the terminology you're using that's making their lawyers go like this. And they're like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck to do. But yeah, people usually resolve to insults and racism when they run out of things to say. When they run out of information. When they run out of proof. And those people, intellectually, their IQ is equivalent to that of a fucking stone. I bet you the boulder's a lot more intelligent than these people. Honestly. Resulting into racist attacks. It just shows how stupid that person is. And it's actually, you know, it's more so common than people think. That level of hatred online. There's a reason that I have to mute because I can't be in a party because Kevin won't fucking, well, his PC parts will be there today. He just got his PC parts. But because he's on PlayStation, we can't join a party. So I have to mute every single person, every single game. Because when they realize I'm streaming, they'll start saying some very abhorrent shit to get me banned. Think about all the people that don't have microphones and how many of those people might be a person of color that have to listen to this stuff. Because just because I mute them doesn't mean they stop. They'll go the whole game. If they see me again, they'll go the whole next game. And they will keep going and going and going because these people are fueled by stupidity. Imagine having to be the guy or gal to deal with this. It's bullshit. And they shouldn't have to deal with it.
Tired of it. I'm so sick of dealing with this. I shouldn't have to deal with this as a creator. And it really, look at my videos, man. On my most recent one, I'm talking about the Jurassic World movie that just came out, and I'm being told to go back to the jungle, and I have black privilege, amongst other very choice words, by the way, that I can't post without breaking YouTube's TOS.
That's crazy too. He should be able to say exactly what's going on. He should be able to show us the proof. YouTube should let him show us the proof, but they won't. And that is super unfair.
Bad it is right now with the race comments and the hateful shit that I'm getting, all in hashtag justice for Actman. Actman does not need justice. The Actman needs to be held accountable and to accept the accountability for his actions. Take accountability, dude. It has nothing to do with other creators. So at the end of the day, this is what I'm dealing with as a result of running into the Actman and his horde of fans and all the people ratioing out my videos and sending hate comments. You guys think as a creator, I can just walk away from this and act unfazed, but I am not going to be that guy. I am a genuine human being, and I'm gonna be very honest about what's happening here. And this is what's happening on the platform today. Maybe you do something about it, maybe you don't, but don't say it's not happening, and don't say that I'm some fucking privileged individual that has some sort of immunity, because I don't. That's the truth here at Quantum TV. Thanks for watching them one Brandon Honesty. In the next video, we'll be unboxing the Samsung Q60B. So again, thanks for watching, and until the next video, hopefully somebody does something. I got a text this morning.
That was the 11th. I am not by any means saying Quantum TV is positioning himself for a discrimination lawsuit. I'm not. I'm saying the community that has said these things has backed him into a corner where if YouTube acts, that would be his only way. His only way out of that. And that's just the facts. I'm not saying that he's like doing some Jesse Smollett shit or positioning himself to do this to try to get paid. I don't believe that. In fact, listening to his videos, I think he's a hard-working content creator. But I do believe that he's too soft for criticism. I do believe that he has done some wrong things, and I do believe he said some wrong things. But it looks like he just wants to move on from this. So what do I think should happen? They should, 1, calculate all the average views of Quantum TV's videos. And they should pay out for the video he had to take down from all this. They should pay out for that average amount of views for that video he had to take down because of all the hate. 2, Actman should have his channel reestablished and monetized again and put on a probationary period for 30 days. You don't threaten to dox anybody, you don't threaten YouTube employees, you don't do this for a month, you're good. You get your monetization back. They should monetize his channel again immediately, though. 3, YouTube needs to redo their entire strike basics clause. Every employee should be trained on it, and they should be looking at these cases more thoroughly. So where do we go from here? they got both sides of the spectrum. There's two things that we need to accept. One, this isn't our fight as individuals that consume this content. If you're a fan of Quantum TV, don't go over to Ackman's channel talking all crazy. If you're a fan of Ackman, don't come to Quantum's channel talking all crazy. And I believe you should be punished to the full extent of the law if you use racism. Period. And two, we need to accept that we're human and people make mistakes. And those that are willing to admit their faults and grow past them need to be accepted. If their behavior is changed, and they say that they're changed, and their posts and their content and all these things reflect those changes, we should be supporting that and giving positive reinforcement for that. And I think Quantum TV really needs to do a video, aside from everything else, discussing all the allegations against him for the anti-Semitism or the homophobia or all these things. He needs to address them. And if he doesn't, it's either because he wanted to admit he was wrong, or they're still ongoing. And I believe they're still ongoing because he admitted to still having his channel for all those things that were the channel was taken down for hate speech. That's just my take, guys. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I believe this whole thing has been blown out of proportion. The one thing I will agree with is I do agree with Asmongold, and they did get into this. Asmon and yeah, during that interview they got into this. They want to form a coalition of watchdogs to prevent people from abusing the DMCA system. And I think that's really important for growing content creators like myself. We need a system that protects us. We need a system that'll help give us the resources that when we get DMCA'd and we get targeted and people strike us because we're being targeted, we need a coalition of people that can help us through it. And whether that derived from the situation with Quantum TV and Ackman, or whether it's stemmed because of some other situation, I think we need that. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We're going to be going live here at 5 o'clock. We're going to do some Arena of Solaire tonight. We're going to be grinding on Black Desert. And I'm going to be editing videos until then. So, much love, guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. And, yeah, just be smart. Be safe. And don't jump into brawls that you don't need to. It's a waste of your time and energy and your vibration. Don't lower your vibration for a feud that you don't need to be in. It's that simple.